Hi everybody, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am very excited to be finally doing a bookshelf tour. I have wanted to do one for the longest time, but I just wasn't organized enough. I'll be honest, I'm in a small space. I had stuff double stacked, triple stacked in some spots. And there was no really organization. But I have a new bookshelf, and that's kind of resolved itself a little bit. This one over here is still a little bit of a mess, but you know what? We're going to go with it. We're just going to go with it. We're going to make it work. So I'm about to show you all of the books that I have, and I hope that you enjoy them as much as me. Okay, so starting off, we have my author spotlight on top of my dresser, which as of right now is my Ruth Ware and Lisa Jewell collections. I am going to have to rework this here in a few months because they both have a new book coming out, and as you can see, I am completely out of room. But for now, we have In a Dark, Dark Wood, The Lying Game, The Death of Mrs. Westerway, The Woman in Cabin 10, The Turn of the Key, One by One, and The It Girl, The Family Upstairs, The Family Remains, The Night She Disappeared, which as of right now is my personal favorite, Then She Was Gone, The House We Grew Up In, The Girls in the Garden, Invisible Girl, Watching You, The Truth About Melody Brown, I Found You, and The Third Wife, all by Lisa Jewell. And then moving on over here, we have my new small bookshelf that I thought was going to be bigger when it came in. But you know what? Something is better than nothing. This is mostly series, and there are like a few random books thrown on the ends that I couldn't fit anywhere else. So up here on this top shelf we have Throne of Glass, which I'm not going to pull out because it's wedged in there pretty good. Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, and Empire of Storms, all by Sarah J. Maas. The Book of Cold Cases, The Sundown Motel, and The Haunting of Maddie Clare, all by Simone St. James. The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, and A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. And moving on down, we have City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, Dreams of Gods and Monsters, Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And then moving on down to the next shelf, we have mostly dystopians, but there are also a few authors that I am kind of 50-50 on at this point. Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant, all by Veronica Roth. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, all by Suzanne Collins. The Paris Apartment, The Hunting Party, and The Guest List, all by Lucy Foley. Final Girls, Home Before Dark, and The House Across the Lake, all by Riley Sager. And moving on down, we have a shelf that is almost entirely retellings, but the ones that are on here that are not retellings are still fantasy. Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter, all by Marissa Meyer. Splintered by A.G. Howard. Everland by Wendy Spinelli. Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. Incarnate by Jodi Meadows. The Diviners by Libba Bray. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. Keeper and Seeker, both by Kim Chance. Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. And down here on the bottom shelf, I have the entirety of the Harry Potter series. I'm not going to pull them out because they are really wedged in there, and this is also a very awkward angle. But the series consists of Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and The Deathly Hallows. And then down here on the end, I just have Eve the Awakening by Jenna Morrissey because it would not fit anywhere else. Moving on to the next shelf, up there on the top we just have some old photo albums and scrapbooks that I am not going to pull down because I don't feel like having an avalanche fall on my head. The first shelf up here consists of the entirety of the Pretty Little Liars series. I am not going to pull them all out because there are 18 books and that is a lot. But we have Pretty Little Liars, Flawless, Perfect, Unbelievable, Pretty Little Secrets, Wicked, Killer, Heartless, Wanted, Allie's Pretty Little Lies, Twisted, Ruthless, Stunning, Burned, Crushed, Deadly, Vicious, and Toxic, and those are all by Sarah Shepard. Death on Tap by Ellie Alexander, The Black Phone Stories by Joe Hill, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, The Twisted Ones by Tim Kingfisher, 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard, The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina, Behind the Lie by Amelia Neymark, Edgar and Lucy by Victor Lodato, Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier, The Echo Killing by Christy Daughtery. And then moving on down, on this side here I have a bunch of books that I got in a subscription box a while back and I haven't gotten to yet. And then over here is the start of my Stephen King collection. And these two down here I have read, I just didn't have anywhere else to put them. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. And I'm sorry, I have read this one. It just ended up on the wrong side of the stack. The Child by Fiona Barton. Don't Let Go by Harlan Coben. Cutting Edge by Ward Larson. I'll Eat When I'm Dead by Barbara Borland. Seeing Red by Sandra Brown. Every Day Above Ground by Glenn Eric Hamilton. Wicked River by Jenny Milchman. The Mentor by Lee Matthew Goldberg. How It Happened by Michael Cortia. Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And now we have the start of my Stephen King collection. From this point on down to the bottom of the shelf is all Stephen King. Salem's Lot, Carrie, The Stand, The Shining, The Dead Zone, Cujo, Christine, Pet Sematary, The Eyes of the Dragon, Firestarter, Different Seasons, Rose Madder, The Tommyknockers, The Dark Half, Needful Things, Dolores Claiborne, Gerald's Game, Insomnia, The Green Mile, Bag of Bones, The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, Thinner, The Skeleton Crew, The Long Walk, The Talisman, which was co-written with Peter Straub, Black House, also co-written with Peter Straub, From a Buick 8, Lucy's Story, Cell, Doomickey, Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, End of Watch, The Gunslinger, The Drawing of the Three, Misery, Dr. Sleep, It, Joyland, Blaze, Elevation, Sleeping Beauties, co-written with Owen King. Here I have a second copy of Gerald's Game, which I did not realize that I owned, so I will be getting rid of one of them. I'm not sure which yet. The Wastelands, Wizard and Glass, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, the Bachman books, 4 early novels, which consists of Rage, The Long Walk, Roadwork, and The Running Man. Full Dark No Stars, On Writing, Desperation, The Regulators, Revival, Dreamcatcher, Under the Dome, I'm sorry, this does not have a dust jacket. It came in from thrift books this way. 11/22/63 and Fairy Tale. For those of you wondering about the books that say Richard Bachman on them, why I have them in the Stephen King section, if you did not know, Richard Bachman is Stephen King's pseudonym, so I still put Richard Bachman books with Stephen King. Okay, so moving on to the next shelf. Up here on the top, we have a collection. I'm not going to pull them out to show them because, quite honestly, I am very, very short and I can't reach up there even on my tippy toes. So, I could try, but things would probably fall down and it would be a big mess, so I'm not going to do that. But I will tell you what we have. So, starting at the end of that photo album, we have Little Women and Little Men by Louisa May Alcott. And on the top is Jo's Boys, the third in that series. I just didn't put it on top because it would have fallen between the shelves. And then I have Scarlet, which is the unofficial sequel to Gone with the Wind by Alexandra Ripley. And of course, Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. Then I have all of my Nicholas Sparks books, which includes The Rescue, The Longest Ride, A Bend in the Road, The Guardian, Safe Haven, and A Walk to Remember. I have Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty, Horns by Joe Hill, Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, and The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. We also have The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix, and The Satanic Mechanic by Sally Andrew. And on the very end, we have a little plaque that has some negatives from the original Gone with the Wind movie. This used to belong to my aunt. She was a major Gone with the Wind fan, and she had a lot of memorabilia, and I ended up with it when she died. So I put it up here so that it could be with the book, which is on the other end, so I should probably rearrange that. So moving on down to the next shelf, this is almost entirely Nora Roberts. I have Nora Roberts down here as well, but I do have one book up here that is not, and that one is No Exit by Taylor Adams. I just didn't have room for it anywhere else. Year One, Blood Brothers, Vision in White, Holding the Dream, Daring to Dream. This is The Collector, which I'm sorry does not have a dust jacket. True Betrayals, Tribute, The Calhouns, Susanna and Megan, The Calhouns, Catherine, Amanda, and Lila, The Gallagher's Trilogy, which includes Jewels of the Sun, Tears of the Moon, and Heart of the Sea, The Three Sisters Island Trilogy, which includes Dance Upon the Air, Heaven and Earth, and Face the Fire, The Sign of Seven Trilogy, which includes Blood Brothers, The Hollow, and The Pagan Stone, the Cousins O'Dwyer Trilogy, including Dark Witch, Shadow Spell, and Blood Magic, and the Circle Trilogy, including Morgan's Cross, Dance of the Gods, and Valley of Silence, Temptation, Dangerous, The Gift, Truly Madly Manhattan, The Law of Love, the In the Garden Trilogy, consisting of Blue Dahlia, Black Rose, and Red Lily, From the Heart, First Impressions, Once Upon a Midnight, which is an anthology with Jill Gregory, Ruth Ryan Langan, and Marianne Willman, Time and Again, Enchanted, the Key Trilogy, consisting of Key of Light, Key of Knowledge, and Key of Valor, Midnight Bayou, Public Secrets, Sanctuary, The Villa, Engaging the Enemy, Irish Dreams, Birthright, Northern Lights, Blue Smoke, Black Hills, The Search, Chasing Fire, The Witness, Whiskey Beach, The Liar, The Obsession, Come Sundown. And in the next stack, I have the start of the Eve Duncan series by Irish Johansson. I don't have nearly all of them. I think there's like 30 books in that series. But I have the first few, and those are The Face of Deception, The Killing Game, The Search, Dead Aim, and Body of Lies. False Pretenses, The Cove, 11th Hour, Blind Side, Point Blank, all by Catherine Coulter. And then I have the first 3 books in a Patricia Cornwell series consisting of Postmortem, Body of Evidence, and All That Remains. The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torr, When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, Never Have I Ever by Jocelyn Jackson, Little Lovely Things by Maureen Joyce Connolly, Poppy Harmon Investigates by Lee Hollis, Dying on the Vine by Maria Cooper, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Okay, and moving on down to this next shelf, I have a smaller collection and I have to be quite careful with it because this shelf is falling apart. I don't know if you could tell from the long shots, but this shelf was bought on Amazon probably 2 years ago, and it is starting to collapse. This shelf here literally fell out and I had to glue it back in, so it can't handle too much weight. So I'm going to be very, very careful while on this shelf. The Escape Room by Megan Golden, The Other Side of Everything by Lauren Doyle Owens, The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter, The Wife Between Us, An Anonymous Girl, and You Are Not Alone, all by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. The Perfect Stranger, The Last House Guest, All the Missing Girls, and Such a Quiet Place, all by Megan Miranda. Not a Happy Family, and An Unwanted House Guest, both by Sherry Lapina. Dark Places and Sharp Objects, both by Gillian Flynn. Craven Manor and Small Horrors, both by Darcy Coates. And down here on this bottom shelf, I'm going to have to do this a little bit differently because, as you can see, it has all of this empty space because of that up there where I had to glue it in and not put hardly anything on it. So typically there is a stack of books on top of this row. I do plan on getting another shelf to replace this one, but for now we have to make do with what we have. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn, You Were Here by Gian Sarter, Last Seen Alive by Claire Douglas, Any Minute Now by Eric Van Lusbader, The Quantum Spy by David Ignatius, Burntown, The White Mirror by Elsa Hart, Tailspin by Sandra Brown, Blame by Jeff Abbott, The Midford Murders by Jessica Fellows, Party Girls Die in Pearls by Plum Sykes, The Masterpiece by Fiona Davis, The Ordeal by Jorn Lear Horst, The Late Show by Michael Connolly, The Driver by Hart Hansen, Book of Judas by Linda Stasi, Star of the North by D.B. John, Orphan X by Greg Hurwitz, The Midnight Line by Lee Child, Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter, Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, Looking for Alaska, Paper Towns, and The Fault in Our Stars, all by John Green. Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, What Happened That Night by Sandra Block, Nosferatu by Joe Hill, Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill, The Lost Chronicles, the official companion book, Maximum Ride Volume 2 by James Patterson, Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, The Seven and a Half Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, Poems with Power to Strengthen Your Soul by James Mudge. The Great Coffin Mystery by Ellery Queen. The Last Party by Claire McIntosh. The Last Letter from Your Lover by Jojo Moyes. So we're going to do things a little bit differently on this last shelf because it has a lot of very long series on it, and that top shelf is double stacked. So we're just going to go ahead and talk about the series as a whole. So these two stacks here are the Fear Street series by R.L. Stine. This was a teen favorite series, and it kind of got me into thrillers, mysteries, horror, and everything. And I'm slowly trying to make my way back through them, rereading childhood favorites, that type of thing. But there are probably about 100 here. Maybe. And I still have more to go. The goal with this, after I complete the entire series, is to donate them to a library or to a school, and for them to have the complete set, because I know that I personally hated as a kid coming to one and not having access to it, or just like having it be impossible to find. So I think it would be great to donate the series as a whole. And there are a few series on this shelf that is true for. And then this second double stack is all my Janet Ivanovich. It's mostly the Stephanie Plum series, but I will go ahead and go through these because they're not as extensive. So we have Back to the Bedroom, Love Overboard, The Rocky Road to Romance, and then there is Motormouth and Metro Girl. I know that they go together, that they're companions, but I can't remember which one's which. It has been a long time since I read this. Janet Ivanovich is another one that I'm trying to make my way back through. You'll see that as a theme this year. I am trying to reread a lot of authors that I used to be into that I kind of fell out with, to kind of get myself reacquainted with their works. And these are ones that I do not remember at all. And then we have another series that was co-written with Charlotte Hughes. I have no idea which orders these books go in because, again, I barely remember them. But we have Full Bloom, Full House, Full Speed, Full Tilt, Full Blast, and Full Scoop. And then we have Naughty Neighbor, Hot Stuff with Leanne Banks, Wife for Hire, Thanksgiving, Smitten, and Manhunt. And then, of course, we have the Janet Ivanovich series, which I am slowly making my way back through. Up on the top, there's a couple of special books that are non-canon, including the Christmas book, Vision of Sugar Plums, and the Valentine's book, Plum Loving. Then we have the first 18 books there in paperback. And then over on this side, we have it going into the hardbacks. I don't have the full series. I stopped at 24 because I honestly was not enjoying them anymore. But that was like back when they were first released. I am really enjoying my reread, so I might feel differently about it now. So I'll see if I'll continue buying them. And then right here in the middle, I don't know why it's in the middle instead of on the end, is Plum Spooky, which is the Halloween book. And then right here, up here on the very top, we have the Anne of Green Gables series by L.M. Montgomery. I only ever hear about the first two books, but there are actually 8. I know that I read them as a child, but I do not remember most of them, so I am planning to go back through these very soon. On this shelf, we have the Boxcar Children series that I currently own. I do not own every book in the series. This is going to be very similar to the Fear Street books, where I slowly collect them and then donate them once I am done. These were childhood favorites that I am making my way back through. These are very much child books, but they are very good for small children, and I want to donate them to a children's library at some point. Then over here on the end, we have Where the Heart Is by Billy Letts, Quiet Little Women, A Christmas Story by Louisa May Alcott, and Natasha, the biography of Natalie Wood by Suzanne Winstead. And Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. And the next shelf down is entirely Nancy Drew books. Again, it is not the entire series because I don't own them all yet. I think I read them all when I was a kid, but I do not remember all of the storyline. But I was obsessed as a child, and I still like the computer games now. Ignore the noise in the background. My roommate is vacuuming. If you are wondering about the plastic baggies, those are really, really old copies from like the 30s. I think they're first editions. And this is just to help preserve their quality because they are very fragile. And down here we're getting into more traditional territory again. A Good Yarn by Debbie Macomber, Open Season by Linda Howard, Walking Across Egypt by Clyde Edgerton, Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews, The Hunt and The Prey by both by Allison Brennan, Taken by Storm by Tammy Hogue, The Cabin and The Waterfall, both by Carla Neggers, See Me by Nicholas Sparks, which I just realized that is not on my Nicholas Sparks shelf. I think it's because it's the only paperback. And then down here I have the start of my Lisa Jackson collection. I am slowly reworking my way through her works, and I've been enjoying it. She can be a little bit over the top. It's still fun at the same time. It's really hard to describe. You do have to suspend a little bit of disbelief, though, when you're reading her to enjoy her. But I think she can be really fun. Some of these are part of series. I'm not sure which ones go with which series. I don't think they're in order. But I'll just go over what I do have. The Night Before, The Morning After, Cold-Blooded, Revenge, Backlash, Unspoken, Whispers, If She Only Knew, Deep Freeze, Left to Die, Chosen to Die, and Expecting to Die. And down here on the bottom I have the start of one of my favorite series from my teen years, The Princess Diaries by Matt Caddo. I only have the first 7 here. I think there's like 12 now, because in 6 and 7 I wasn't really feeling the series anymore. I had just got them for nostalgia's sake, but I was really finding myself bored with the series, and particularly with the main character's behavior. That they're still beloved favorites, and I'm having a hard time disposing of these or donating them because they were so important for so long. How the Finch Stole Christmas by Donna Andrews, and these little individual books that tie into Little Women. There's one based on each of the sisters. Joe makes a friend, Meg's story, Amy's story, and Beth's story. I don't really remember these, except it was just like a little side story that centered around each girl. But I do plan on rereading these soon and deciding whether or not I want to keep them. The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. Propeller One-Way Night Coach, A Fable for All Ages by John Travolta. I Won't Let Them Hurt You by Linda Barr. A very old copy of The Night Before Christmas, like the classic fable. The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane by Laird Koenig. A Child Called It. A Man Named Dave. And The Privilege of Youth, a teenager's story of longing for acceptance and friendship, all by Dave Pelzer. Bastard Out of Carolina by Dorothy Allison. The Truth Behind the Savage Murder of Skylar Nace, Pretty Little Killers, by Daylene Berry and Jeffrey C. Fuller. Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. First to Die. Second Chance, and Third Degree, all by James Patterson and Andrew Cross. The Wrong Hostage, and Always Time to Die, both by Elizabeth Lowell. The Girl Death Left Behind by Lurleen McDaniel. The Sitter by R.L. Stine. Every Secret Thing by Laura Littman. The Melody Lingers On. I Heard That Song Before. And Just Take My Heart. So that was my 2023 bookshelf tour. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. Thank you guys so much for sticking with it if you've watched this far. And please bear with me for any technical mistakes that might be going on, gaps in the footage. It is my first time filming a bookshelf tour, and I was not prepared for the task at hand. I will be better prepared the next time. If you have any suggestions for stylistic changes, things you might want to see done next time, or things that you think should be done a little bit differently, make sure to leave them in the comments below so that I can give you guys exactly what you want for the next tour. But for now, that is all that I have for you guys today. If you liked this video, please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, follow me on the social medias. Click that bell if you want to be notified of all of my upcoming videos. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.